guest, welcome to today's Big Brother 19 updates and spoilers. Our house guest today is Danielle W. Danielle, thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate it, and I hope you and everybody watching had a very happy Eclipse day. Yay! I'm not in the path of totality, but if you guys are, that's awesome, and I hope you enjoyed it, and if not, I hope you still enjoyed it. So thanks again for your support, and if you guys want to be house guests today, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. Alright, so it looks like Paul's pretty much got this thing wrapped up, right? I mean, he's in a really good spot right now. So he was having a friendship monologue in the Apple Lounge, and he was going through some past game moves, and he made a really good point. He has pretty much controlled every HOH this week. Sorry, not this week. This season, except for Jess and Cody's. But when they were HOH, he like flipped things and ruined it for them. So he's had control like every single week. It's crazy. So he's also saying it's pretty dope that he hasn't been on the block once yet. I mean, technically he would have been up week 1 when Cody was HOH if he didn't have the pendant of protection, but that was part of the game, so you can't really fault him for that. So yeah, he hasn't been up on the block yet. Crazy, when considering he's the only vet in the house. That's nuts. So then he goes on to explain, this is similar to what he was talking about yesterday in the diary room on yesterday's episode, that there are 3 couples in the house right now. You got Josh and Christmas, Matt and Raven, and Alex and Jason. And then he and Kevin are kind of just like floating around. Sorry, all that time in the sun today really wears me out. Okay, so he's saying he's like the 3rd for each of these couples because they all think that he's with them, but he's really with Josh and Christmas. So all these couples are either going after each other or Kevin. He's not the target for anybody right now. So he can just ping pong back and forth between the couples. It's a pretty good strategy as long as they don't compare notes and realize, whoa, Paul is with everyone. But what are the chances they're actually going to compare notes? Not very good with this group. So anyway, Paul says that Mark is going this week. And then Jason is his next target because Jason and Alex are the strongest of the 3 pairs. So he wants to get rid of that threat and keep things rolling here. So Paul says that Josh and Christmas have been with him the whole time. They've been the most loyal minions. And he wants to reward that and go to the final 3 with them. But I mean, he's also confident that he can beat them in the final 3. I mean, with the final HOH competition, the 3-parter, Christmas can't do any of those like crazy physical ones. She's not going to be cleared for that. Josh is Josh. he's not been great in competition so far this season. So Paul's pretty confident that he can beat them, not only in the final HOH comp, but also in the final 2. Because if you had like Josh and Paul in the final 2, who would you vote for? I mean, really. So then his ideal final 5 would be, of course, Josh and Christmas, and then 2 more, Raven and Kevin, because again, he thinks he can beat them in the final competitions and in the final 2 if they were to somehow end up there. So then he's like, well, you know, he's thinking about the final 3 again. He still definitely wants to go with Josh, but then instead of Christmas, maybe Raven, because they would both take him to the final 2. He's nervous if he goes with Josh and Christmas. They might take each other to the end instead of Paul and cut him at 3. So he's like, you know what, maybe Raven instead of Christmas. We'll see. I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know. But he says if he can survive the next 2 weeks, he's probably going to win. Yeah, I would agree with that. And then this monologue was going on for quite a while, and eventually he was like, so one time, Raven came to one of my band's shows in Little Rock, Arkansas, and she was telling me about her pacemaker and how it was on her bucket list to be on BB. Oh, feeds cut the feeds, we can't have this on the feeds. Was he about to say that, like, he helped her get on the show or something? Like, what's going on there? I don't know, but it would make sense why Raven would be so freaking loyal to Paul, right? I mean, we already knew that they met each other in the past, but if he helped her get on the show, like, I'm not saying that that's what happened, but if, yeah. Okay, so then Christmas was doing her own monologue in the kitchen, and she feels really good about her game right now, too. And she's realizing breaking her foot actually helped her out here because She's no longer a physical threat. I'm sorry, I keep trying to like hold my yawns in and it makes me talk really weird. But she's not a physical threat anymore. So people are just like, oh, I'm going to keep her around because she can't even compete in half these competitions. So she feels like she's more than likely going to go to the final 3. She wants to go with Josh and Paul. So that group of 3 is very tight right now. And then they can just like duke it out when they get to the end. Now she's realizing if Matt and Raven have something going with Alex and Jason, maybe they won't make it to the final 3. That's like a little speed bump there, but it's really unlikely that those 4 are working together. Paul never told them to do that. Why would they do that? Okay, so then Paul, Christmas, and Alex were talking in the kitchen, and Alex is going through her eviction order. It's a little different than Paul and Christmas is, of course. So she says she wants Mark, then Matt, then Kevin, and then Raven. And Paul and Christmas are playing along like, yeah, that sounds great. Alex is saying she wants to go to the final 5 with the 3 of them, Jason and Josh. And they're like, yeah, that's awesome, woo! So Alex is like, we're gonna have to draw the line so that nobody's feelings get hurt. Ooh, girl, I think you're gonna be a little bit hurt when that line gets drawn because you're gonna be on the other side of it. So then Alex is saying that she thinks that Kevin might have to go a little bit sooner because he's been talking to Matt and Raven a lot, and that is unacceptable. So Paul says, yeah, Kevin is jumping ship on us and reintegrating with Matt and Raven. You won't talk to him! Who do you want him to talk to? So Paul is just saying, like, Kevin is up to no good. Alright, so then commence the Kevin shit-talking sequence. I've heard it all now. Now they're saying that Kevin may not have any kids at all. Okay, they feel like he is using his parents' stories. What? That is insane. So Paul is really stuck on Kevin saying, when you see my kids, you're going to be shocked. He's like, Kevin never said why we would be shocked. Are we going to be shocked because he doesn't have any kids? Can you imagine Kevin's kids watching this at home, freaking laughing their asses off? So then they're saying, like, Kevin never talks about his wife, but he's got no problem talking about his parents. And Paul's like, what are the chances that he's one of 7 children and he has 7 of his own kids? It could happen, man. It could happen. So then Paul is saying that they should get Josh to call Kevin out. And Christmas and Alex are like, woo, woo, woo. They love it. And then in the same breath, Paul is like, man, in life, Josh is going to be the kind of person who's going to get taken advantage of because he has such a kind, soft heart. And it's just interesting that he says that after using Josh all season to do shit for him, like call people out and cause drama, or grab a glass of water for him or a snack. So he's like, oh, I want to help Josh out after Big Brother and make sure that people aren't going to take advantage of him and make sure that he knows that not everybody has a kind heart like him. I think he's seeing plenty of that in this game. But anyway, later on, Mark, he's still kicking, guys. He was making another plea to Christmas and Josh up in the HOH room. And Mark is asking them, like, are there any deals to be made here? Is there anything that I can do to stay off the block? Because they got the POV ceremony coming up. So Josh is like, Mark, I want you to know you're handling this so well. You just aligned with the wrong people, you know? It is what it is from day one. So, I'm so sorry. Gotta get it out. Okay. Christmas says that she still wants some more time to think about it. She promised Mark that she would, but she wants more time. And she's saying maybe somebody else will blow up tonight and ruin their game. Yeah, okay. So then Mark is saying, you know, if I stay, I'm going to be loyal to the 2 of you. I got nobody right now. And then Josh brings up this final 2 deal that Mark supposedly had with Jason. I guess maybe they made it like in the very first few days and it didn't really mean anything. But Mark is like, no, that's dead now. I was cool with Jason and then he threw me into the fire. Higher and higher. Went on American Summer. No, he's saying that Jason threw him under the bus during the double eviction and he can't work with him anymore. It's not gonna happen. I have my doubts about that. But, again, Mark is telling them he's never broken his word except for with Cody. That was a pretty big deal. But he says that was to keep Christmas, so what can he say? So then Josh was like, yeah, but if you turned on your best friend, how do I know that you won't do that to me? Because we've had a rocky-ass relationship. So he's really skeptical about that. And Mark is like, well, Cody put my game in jeopardy. I can't deal with that, but I would not turn on you two. I think he's pretty much just saying anything at this point to stay in the game. But Mark offers up a suggestion. He proposes Alex going up this week. He's like, she's a strong competitor. She's got a really great chance to win this whole thing. A lot of people like her. So he puts that out there, and they're just like, all right, thank you. They thank him, they hug, whatever, and Mark leaves peacefully. Oh shit, I'm so sorry. So professional. Okay, so then Josh and Christmas are left alone in the HOH room to talk about all this. And Josh says, man, shut the F up. He is not buying what Mark is selling. He's like, you know what? If Jason or Alex were the HOH this week, Mark would be up here throwing us under the bus to them. So, so this conversation clearly did not save Mark this week, but it did wake them up about Alex. You guys didn't realize before how big of a threat she is? Are you serious? But they're thinking Alex really needs to move up on the target list. You know, get rid of her before Jason, because they're feeling really threatened by her. I'm not sure that Paul is going to be down with that. Master Paul. So then Paul, Jason, Alex, and Josh were in the kitchen a little while later, and Paul asked Josh, can you call out Kevin next time he looks at you weird? And Josh is like, no, that's not going to happen. Like, what you saw with me and Cody, or me and Mark, that's not going to happen with Kevin. It's a respect thing. So Paul's like, really? Because Kevin doesn't respect you? And Josh is like, well, I don't care. I respect him. And then Alex is like, you're going to let your family down. Are you freaking kidding me? So Josh is like, whatever. I want you guys to know, I'm not fooled by what Kevin is putting out there, but I'm not going to call him out. It's just not going to happen. So Alex is like, why don't you call him an old man and make fun of his weight? What? So Josh over and over is like, I'm not going to do it. They keep asking him to do it. He's like, no way. And Paul is finally like, well, I'm going to call him out when the time is right. We'll see about that. All right, so then last night, the house guests were all chatting by the hot tub for a while, talking about pickup lines, picking up dates, getting digits, iPhones, whatever. Nothing really interesting to report there, except, like, Josh apparently gets a lot of drinks thrown in his face when he's out at bars. Okay, so then later in the evening, Mark campaigns to Christmas again, and then he talks to Christmas and Josh together again, and he's definitely still trying to make Alex the new target this week, and they're kind of, like, into it. He's saying Alex and Jason together are freaking insane. They're both really good at competitions. They're tough competitors, but if Alex goes, Jason would not know what to do without her. He's basically going to be lost. So Josh is like, yeah, but what if we do what you want and we keep you and then you freaking flip on us? And Mark again is like, no way, never going to happen. So Christmas lets Paul know Mark is still campaigning. She tells him all about it. She says Mark is pitching that Alex is a bigger target. She's better at physical and mental competitions. And he's been pledging his loyalty to her and Josh. So then Christmas is saying to Paul, you know, maybe we should make some changes to the pecking order here. Maybe not this week, but soon. Alex needs to go before Jason. So she's saying, like Mark was saying, Jason's going to fall apart. And she tells Paul, I think once Alex is gone, Jason would gravitate towards you and work with you. I don't think so. But Paul disagrees with this. Of course. He says, I think Alex is more likely to gravitate to us than Jason. I would definitely agree with that, because Christmas doesn't realize that Paul's got this freaking, what do they call themselves? Like AMF or whatever? I don't know. They got this really close relationship. Still, I don't know that Alex would work with Paul if they got rid of Jason, but she is much more likely to stay with them than Jason would be. So anyway, he's also saying that if Alex goes, Jason and Kevin are going to team up. But if Jason went first, Kevin and Alex are not going to work together because they can't stand each other at this point. So anyway, Paul is thinking they should stick to the plan. You know, he's put together this freaking foolproof plan. He's not going to give it up this easily. So he's like, we get rid of Mark this week, then Jason, then Matt, and then Alex. So Christmas at least agrees, like this week, yeah, we get rid of Mark. I still feel like she really wants Alex to go following Mark. But Paul is pushing again. We heard this a while ago, that if he's in the final two, whoever he's up against is going to win because he's a vet and they're going to give it to the newbie. But he's cool with that. He's cool. He says he'd be cool with Christmas or Josh winning. Christmas is skeptical about this. She's like, why wouldn't you win? Doesn't make sense. Yeah, it doesn't. Okay, so then today, Big Brother woke the house guests up and gave them some glasses to watch the solar eclipse. Yay! They were not in the path of totality either, so I think it was only like a 60-something% coverage of the sun. But, you know, they were out there watching. I think a few of them fell asleep. That's rough. But anyway, a little while later, they had the power veto ceremony. Jason used it on himself, and Christmas put up Mark as the replacement. So much for making big moves here. So now it's Matt versus Mark on the block. 3 days until eviction. I think it's pretty clear who's going this week. Bye, Mark. I don't know if he's going to try to campaign. I think he probably will at least try a little bit. I don't think it's going to do anything for him, but you never know. You know, you never know. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. And until tomorrow, much love. And sorry for all the yawning.